Good morning, this is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue on my part series, the professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season. This is part 42, talking about the 2005 St. Louis Cardinals. Now this is a team that had the best record in baseball, 100 wins, 62 losses. They had the best record in baseball by a landslide. Not by a landslide, but they had the best record in baseball, but they didn't win the championship. They lost in the NLCS to the Houston Astros in 6 games. His team was led by Albert Pujols, won the MVP award that year. 2005 hit 330, 41 home runs, 117 RBIs. Chris Carpenter won the Cy Young Award, had a 2.83 ERA, 21 wins, had 213 strikeouts. Outfielder Jim Edmonds won a Gold Glove that year in 2005. And the Cardinals had a great pitching staff. They led the Major League Baseball, having the lowest ERA, 3.49, exceeded the fewest earned runs, 560, and they pitched the most complete games, which was 15. So this team was loaded, man. They definitely handled their business through the regular season, but unfortunately they did not win the championship. So we're just going to go over why they lost in the NLCS, because obviously that's the reason why I'm talking about this team, is that they faced the Houston Astros, which was the rematch of the 2004 NLCS between Houston and St. Louis. They played each other again in 2005. The Cardinals had the best record in the league, the National League, and Astros won 4-2. And it ended up going to the World Series, and they got swept by Chicago. So let's get this matchup. First game, Game 1, St. Louis beat Houston 5-3. Chris Carpenter pitched against Andy Pettitte. David Eckstein of the Cardinals hit a leadoff single off of Andy Pettitte, was struck by a batted ball during batting practice, but made the start as scheduled. Then Reggie Sanders hit a home run with 2 outs to put him up 2-0. Mark Ruzelnik single to left, lead off the second inning. Moved to third on Abraham Nunez, single 1 out later, and scored on a Chris Carpenter sacrifice bunt. So in the 5th inning, Nunez again hit a leadoff single, moved to second on a sacrifice bunt, scored on Eckstein's single, with Eckstein reaching second on right fielder Jason Lane's throw to home. So 1 out, Albert Pujols hit an RBI single, made it 5-0 Cardinals. And Carpenter pitched a great baseball game, pitched 6 shutout innings. Obviously gave up a pinch hit, 2-run homer to Chris Burke. Then Brad Asmus hit a sacrifice fly in the 9th off of Jason Hauser, made it 5-3, but they won 5-3. So game 2, Houston evened the series up at 4-1. Roy Oswalt was the pitcher against Mark Mulder. In the 2nd inning, Chris Burke hit a triple with 1 out, scoring the pass ball by Mark Mulder. In the 5th inning, Brad Osmus hit a leadoff double, moved to third on Roy Oswalt's sacrifice bunt, and scored on Craig Biggio's ground out. Albert Pujols' leadoff home run off of Oswalt in the 6th put the Cardinals on the board, but they would get nothing more. The Astros scored 2 insurance runs in the 8th off of Julian Tavares on Chris Burke's RBI single that scored Lance Berkman from third, followed by Adam Everett's RBI triple. Brad Lidge pitched 2 shutout innings for the save as the Astros 4-1 win tied the series at 1-1 heading to Houston. Now, Game 3 is now in Houston. And Houston won Game 3 4-3. Roger Clemens pitched in this game for Houston. Cardinals' Matt Morris pitched well the first 3 innings, shutout, but before he walked Morgan Ensberg to lead off the 4th, then Mike Lamb's home run put the Astros up 2-0. In the 5th, Astros' Roger Clemens allowed back-to-back singles from Yadier Molina, Abraham Nunez. Morris' sacrifice bunt moved them up 1 base each. But before David Eckstein's sacrifice fly put the Cardinals on the board. Clemens again allowed back-to-back leadoff singles next inning to Albert Pujols and Jim Edmonds before Larry Walker's sacrifice fly tied the game. In the bottom of the inning, Lamb hit a one-out double and scored on Jason Lane's single. After Brad Asmer's single, Brad Thompson's relief, Morris and Adam Everett hit into a fielder's choice that allowed Lane to score to put the Astros up 4-2. Chad Qualls pitched 2 hitless innings before Brad Lidge retired the first 2 batters in the ninth and walked John Rodriguez. Rodriguez then moved to second on defensive indifference before scoring on John Mabry's double. This is the first run Lidge allowed against the Cardinals since May 29, 2003, but held on for the save. The Astros now had a 2-1 lead in the series, and it was Roger Clemens' 12th career postseason win, 5th in the league championship series game. Then Game 4 came about. Houston won 2-1 in Houston. Brandon Back provided a strong outing. The Astro bullpen continued its strong performance. The Cardinals struck first in the 4th when David Eckstein drew a leadoff walk, moved to third on the Jim Edmonds double, and then Albert Pujols hit a sacrifice fly RBI. But the Astros tied in the bottom of the inning on Jason Lane's home run off of Jeff Suppan. The Astros lowered the bases in the 7th off of Jason Marquis on 2 walks and an error when Morgan Enberg's sacrifice fly put them up 2-1. So they won 2-1, and that was the story on that. Then Game 5, Albert Pujols hit a home run, a 3-run home run off of Astro closer Brad Lidge that bounced off the side of the closed Minute Maid Park roof before landing on the railroad tracks in left field, stunning the crowd into silence. The home run gave the Cardinals a 5-4 lead in the top of the 9th inning. So they was able to force a Game 6. So the lead was trimmed from 2 games to 1. No, they was up 3-1. Now it was 3-2 going back to St. Louis. But Houston won 5-1. They shook off that loss real quick and won their first National League pennant in 44 seasons. With a 5-1 win over the Cardinals. Astros scored a run in the 3rd when the Cardinals Mark Mulder threw a wild pitch to Craig Biggio with sprinter runners on 2nd and 3rd. Then Biggio's RBI single scored another. Jason Lane's home run in the 4th inning put them up 3-0. Roy Oswalt pitched 7 strong innings, allowed only a sacrifice fly to John Rodriguez in the 5th. The Astros scored 1 run in the 6th on Adam Everett's sacrifice bunt off of Jason Marquis, and another in the 7th on Morgan Ensberg RBI single off of Julian Tavares. This is the final game at Busch Stadium, and this will be the Astros' last postseason win as a member of the National League, as they will get swept in the World Series, move to the American League in 2013, would not win another postseason game until the 2015 American League Wild Card game. Roy Oswalt was named the series MVP. He was 2-0 with a 1.29 ERA in 14 innings. So that's a story on the 2005 St. Louis Cardinals, a team that won 100 games, lost 62 games, and had the best record in the league. Now that was that, man. That was a story. That was a story of this team, 2005 St. Louis Cardinals. So that concludes part 42. Part 42 of professional sports teams that didn't win the championship during that season, part 42 of 2005 St. Louis Cardinals. Please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to support this channel. Until then, talk to you tomorrow.